today, let's talk governance. Let's talk Seyi Makinde, governor of Oyo State. Well, he's publicly addressed his stance on the 2027 presidential election and stirred fresh debate about party loyalty, democracy, and also opposition strength in Nigeria. Makinde disclosed the fallout with Nyesom Wike that stems from Wike's alleged pledge to support President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid. Makinde insists he will not back the incumbent and warns that efforts to weaken the People's Democratic Party risks eroding Nigeria's multi-party democracy. He also affirmed his experience and qualification to serve at the highest level of government. The timing of Makinde's comments comes as the opposition grapples with internal crisis, defections, and also questions about unity ahead of the 2027 contest. The PDP's struggles have deepened with debates about zoning and leadership direction. Yet the 2027 race continues to shape public conversations about democratic choice, party strategy, and the future of governance in Nigeria.
So to help us understand the political stakes and public reaction, we're joined by Professor Simeon Na. He's a public affairs analyst and he joins us virtually. Professor, good morning to you and thank you so much for coming on.
Good morning and compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season to you too as well. Sir. Let's begin, with what Makinde's intervention tells us about the dynamics of party politics as we edge closer to 2027, shall we? I mean, what do you make of the turn of events so far? How do you see, Nigerians interpreting Makinde's decision to speak openly about Wike and all that's unfolding within the PDP?
Well, everybody in Nigeria knows that there's no love lost between Wike and Makinde. Recall that during the build-up to the 2023 elections, they formed what they called G5. And that was the second time PDP was delving into such things. Remember, in 2025, it was the same thing. Some PDP governors moved out and formed a group that led to the loss of PDP in 2015. So in 2023, while I may not support that of 2015, I tacitly supported that of 2023. Why? Because the zoning of the PDP is that the North will do 7 years and the South will do 7 years. The North will do 8 years and the South will do 8 years. However, it should be noted here that that's a convention. It is not in any of our constitution, it's not in any of our laws. It's an agreement between them. So as gentlemen, they should keep to that agreement. But when it came up in 2023, that instead of allowing a southern presidential candidate, a northern presidential candidate emerged. Even at that, they came together and said, okay, no problem, you have emerged, but you cannot be the presidential candidate and the chairman of the party from the same zone. And they said, no, if you are listening to Makinde like I did, Makinde said that he met Atiku in London and told him to allow them to ask Iyetrayo, that was the chairman of their party as at that time, to exit so that they can bring in the deputy as the chairman. Atiku said they should give him 1 week. He came back and said they have gone past that. Now, who does that? Now, it means he took them for a ride. And when they now met and took that decision to work against him. Now, for me, I didn't say anything bad in that because you can't take me for a ride and expect me to give you loyalty. I will not do that. At that instant, I supported them. But however, when events began to pan out, recall that Pa'awo did say in politics, what you have is permanent interest. You don't have permanent enemy, no permanent friend. It's only permanent interest. So their friendship came to a halt when Wike went, they said he went to a meeting. It was, I'm quoting Makinde verbatim, that they went to a meeting at Aso Rock and Wike now told the president that he was going to hold the PDP down for him in 2027. And Makinde asked, If we had done that, how could you have gone to make such statements? And, every man has his own pride. You cannot go to a meeting like that and you begin to say things that you think yourself, that you never discussed with any other party. So you are trying to say that all others are subservient to you. You are the man in charge. That's what he's trying to say. And if you look at the tragedy of Wike, that's his style. Recall
Professor
that when...
Professor, now let's stop at this juncture here and investigate more about these internal problems of the PDP. Let's talk about these fractures now that we've gotten to this part about Wike versus Makinde. Now, as Wike said that he was going to hold the PDP for the presidency come 2027, one has to ask whether the problems inside of the PDP are still ideological or whether it's a personality thing now where certain persons think that they're bigger than the party and that they could, well, they whatever the party does depends on what they say. Is it still an ideological problem that they're having, or is it a personality problem?
It's not an ideological problem. As it stands now, it's personality clash. Recall that he who pays the piper dictates the tone. Now, Wike before now has been taking the bills of PDP. If you know the number of chairmen he has brought in and removed in PDP, you will understand what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, it is Wike now trying to say what I will say stands. So it's a personality clash. And Makinde, coming from his own point of view, says, no, you cannot do that here. Even he said it during his media chat, that look, he was a millionaire or a billionaire before he got into government. And that Wike, all the money has been from politics. I'm quoting him verbatim. So at the end of the day, he feels that this man cannot come and control me. And let me say this succinctly too, it resonates with me, that it will be wrong for one person. In my place, they say one person does not answer general. I am the general in this place. No. It has to be, and when one person cooks for the community can finish it. But when the community cooks for one person, it will be difficult for that person to finish that meal. So I've said that to say this, that what has happened in PDP up to this moment is a personality clash. Okay. And the PDP themselves have not taken steps to correct their mistakes in the past.
Now, sir, Professor Nna, these personality clashes, these personalities, Wike especially, to what end are these activities within the PDP? What exactly is his interest in the APC while he's still at the PDP, and to what end exactly? Some people argue as a saboteur. Some people argue that he wants to be president. What is your take?
No. He doesn't want to be president because he knows he will not be president.
Why?
Because from what has happened so far, he will not be president. Even if he wants to, it's not now. Because now, with what is going on, he will not even contest for president. What he said, what he wants to do, he wants to hold the PDP down for President Tinubu.
Does that indicate sabotage? Does that indicate sabotage? So does that indicate sabotage?
Of course, yes. When you are in a party and you say your party cannot present a presidential candidate, you are holding your party down for another party. That is sabotage now. And that's why some of us were worried that the PDP did not take steps when they were supposed to take steps to suspend him from the party. He cannot be bigger than the party, cannot be bigger than everybody, but they are watching him throwing tantrums here and there. And now the push has come to shove, and it's now difficult for them to move in. Look at what they have done. They have succeeded to get a court judgment against the convention. And they did it well because they got from a federal high court. Makinde went to a state high court. I've asked some lawyers, because I'm not one, they said that the state high court in this matter cannot give orders to INEC. So whatever judgment the state high court had given will not affect INEC's decision. You see, so they are playing into the hands of Wike, and he's holding them at their jugular as we speak.
Right. Prof, I have to ask you, right, Wike's ambition is a very interesting thing. And I don't know if it's grandiose of delusion, in my opinion, because if he was vying for a presidency for the PDP in 2023, what was his chances of him winning against Tinubu and running against Peter Obi and the Obedience in 2023 elections? If he had clinched the ticket for the PDP, would he have won?
He may not have won.
Okay.
Because already people knew who he was.
Right.
Well, being a governor for Rivers State for 8 years, people had known who he was and they knew how to tackle the situation. Recall that in December 2023.
Right.
Sorry?
Yeah, no, I'm going somewhere with this, Professor. He would not have won, right? And to me, looking back, I think that Wike has always played this game the entirety of this time. The creation of G5 was not about integrity, in my humble opinion. And I don't know if you agree with this. I feel like it was always a case to get here. Because if you go from trying to put a party together to get a ticket, and then from there become a minister of the FCT and become somewhat of a puppet or a tool for the president, and publicly declare that you'll do everything in his power to be president. So it begs to ask the question where the integrity has always been with the G5 and whether Makinde has always been in cahoots with him.
Okay, you can look at it from both ends. I'm looking at it purely from the angle of the grandstanding of the ticket holder of the presidency and the chairmanship of the party as at that time. But after that time, like I said, it became another thing altogether. And as at the point Wike now went to take appointment in APC, if I were in PDP, that was the time he would have been sanctioned. That was the time it would have been sanctioned. Now, if you look at it, if you say that Makinde, that what he did then was not a matter of integrity. Recall that he said he went to UK, he went to London to see the former vice president. Right. And then they agreed that he should give them chance to remove Iyochayo, the chairman of the party. But he came back and said, after 1 week, he said he should give him 1 week. After that, he said they have gone past that. Who does that? If they do that to you, will you take it? If somebody does that to me, I will not take it. Because it was a mark of respect for him to go to London to meet him and to say, look, let's resolve this issue. And the fuse, he was grandstanding.
Right. So
as far as I was concerned, if I were in his shoes, I would take the same decision he took. Simplicity. But what happened later is a different ballgame.
All right, so let's look at the latter here, right? And let's look at how all this thing is played out. And let's look at Wike's ambition and the entirety of PDP. Does Makinde have a chance to save the PDP?
I don't think so for now. I don't think so, because it's going to be a very tall order. Even though I know that PDP is the only party that has structures all over the place. But in 2023, we have seen that somebody without structures can still win an election, because Obi was a nightmare to all of them. Recall that what Erufai said later when he was saying the result was not the original result. He was bringing out the original result. And well, we have gone past that. But the truth is, the way it stands in Nigeria today, structures don't win elections. It's individuals that win elections. The integrity of the person that wins elections.
Professor, why exactly are you saying this? Are you saying this because the structure is faulty or the person? Makinde thinks he's qualified. In fact, he says he's overqualified to be Nigerian president. He also cites good works in Oyo. But I'm thinking, apart from experience, what governance outcomes can we take out of Oyo State and say that, yes, this person perhaps can rule Nigeria? That is if the problem is the party. So there are two things here. Is it the person that cannot be president for 2027, or is it the party he is with that won't let him be president?
It's a party that he's with that will not let him to be president.
So that means he is qualified. That means he can be president.
Sorry?
That means he can be president if only he switches parties.
Yes, he can be president. He's eminently qualified to be president of Nigeria, because those that have been there are not better than he is. Those that have been there are not better than he is. So he's eminently qualified to be president of Nigeria. He has held sway in Oyo for 8 years, 6 years now, going to 7, and he's held his own. So at the end of the day, I think he's eminently qualified to contest as the president of this country. But contesting from a PDP, he will not make it from PDP, because a house divided against itself cannot stand. PDP is already divided against itself. All the moves they have made to reconcile with each other have failed. And with INEC now recognizing his own faction, recall that why he took that convention to Oyo and insisted in having the convention in Oyo is for him to pick the ticket, the presidential ticket, when that primary comes, because that's what they do. Because if you plant your person as the chairman, eventually you are going to pick the ticket at the end of the day. So, but picking the ticket now is one thing, and winning the election is another. The way PDP is now, some people will say the umbrella is torn and cannot be mended for now. Right. Except they go extra mile, like Dr. Bukola Saraki has been advocating, and they go the extra mile to come together and forget what has transpired in the past and ensure that Wike is no longer part of them, because Wike will always betray them. I can tell you that for free, and you can go to the bank with it.
Right. So help me understand this, right? Because late last year and early this year, we saw Labour Party go through the same faith that the PDP is going, which brought about two factions. We had the Nenadi and, of course, Abure's led faction, and we saw the issues that they had at the courts and matters at the convention. Now we're seeing the same thing with the PDP, and it's confusing how we have political stalwarts in those parties and how somehow they didn't see this coming. Besides the PDP's inability to call or reining Wike when he was coloring beyond the lines, what other undoing happened to the PDP?
Well, what happened to the PDP is what has been happening to other parties. The voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau. You can see that the ruling party has always planted a mold in all these political parties. Now, let's trace the trajectory. Now, when some people saw that the PDP crisis cannot be, controlled, they decided to form a mega party. Their first move was in SDP. Immediately, SDP that had never had problem before started having problems. They started going to court. Then I said, okay, let's leave SDP for ADC. They went to ADC, ADC started having issues. They started having problems again. Now, look at Osun. The governor in Osun felt that with the problem in PDP, it will be difficult for him to win election there. So he moved to Accord. Accord, we have never had Accord having issues. Immediately he moved to Accord, Accord started having issues. So you can see what we are saying, that it is the voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau. The ruling party wants to ensure that all the other parties will be decimated, if you like, will be destroyed before they go into 2027 elections. And that is why you see all these problems, cropping up here and there. Okay, look at the registration of the political parties. Now, we heard that ADA has made all the moves and has all qualified to be one of the parties in the election. But today, INEC has told us that they are not qualified to be registered as a political party. There's something going on.
Professor, I just want to pause you on that, right? Because there's so much to unpack here, and we don't want to miss any of it. Let's quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with your remarks there, and also what this tells about the power of the ruling party after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back, and we're still continuing our conversation on 2027 as Governor Makinde speaks in presidency and party politics. We have our guest here, Professor Simeon. Now, he's been talking to us about this very interesting topic here for the past couple of minutes, or more than a couple of minutes. Professor, thank you very much for still remaining with us. Professor Na, the governor, Mr. Makinde's concern is very interesting. Well, it's normal. He says you can't risk a one-party state, and if you continue to destabilize the PDP, then that's what you're doing. But then again, let's take a look at it from where the citizens are. Do the citizens actually still believe that there's a difference between the PDP, the APC, the ADC, or so and so? What must happen between now and 2026 or 2027 for people to get back that trust that opposition means something when it comes to politics in Nigeria?
I think in Nigeria, people are not just looking at the opposition, they are looking at the individuals that are coming up as presidents. I said that with the benefit of hindsight of what happened in 2023, of even what happened in 2015. Recall that in 2015, when the Buhari came, they said, he has integrity and stuff like that. And that was why people voted for him. Then you come again in 2023, they saw another man that had integrity, they voted for him. Although he was not announced the winner, whatever happened, only God knows. So I think the people are willing to vote for a candidate that has integrity. And if the National Assembly will pass the Electoral Act of 2025, it will be 2026 now when it's passed, that election results should be transmitted real time, because the challenge we had in 2023 was that law was not made. It was INEC that made a pronouncement. But if they can pass it as a law now, that beavers must be used, election results must be transmitted real time, and the people are willing to see the result as it's been, as the votes are being calculated, as the votes are going on, then it will be easy for a candidate that has integrity to win. Because when people have seen the result, you cannot go and manipulate it behind. Because we have seen in the last elections that it is when these results are moving from local government to states that they manipulate the results, and what they will bring out will not be what the people at the polling booth saw when the results were announced. So I think that Nigerians are looking up for a credible candidate, not just a political party, because they know all the political parties have failed us. I don't think there's any political party now they say that will come out and beat their chest and say, I am the best. We don't have that political party here. But we have individuals that can stand up and say, hey, I know how to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it well.
Professor, I want to say thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. I wish there was enough time to continue, because the question would have been, why the ruling party has this much power to destabilize other political parties the way that they have, and giving the precedents we've seen. But thank you so far. Very solid analysis. Professor Simeon is a public affairs analyst, just giving us insight as the Seyi Makinde has spoken about presidency and the politics within the PDP. Once again, thank you.